Hey, what's up, friends? This is another one with Fun with Azure. Synapse Studio Part 7 this time. So, what are we going to do this time? So, we're basically looking at creating a Spark pool. Remember last time we did build a small little copy shop that at the end generated as a parquet file. And this time, after we created the pool, I want to show you how to read the file and get started on that side. Pretty basic session when you think about it, but it's good to cover some playground here and some parts of it. Okay, so don't forget the Synapse docs, of course, but let's head over to our beloved workspace. So we have home section here. Just one thing that I want to point out. You may want to check out that one here as well, the ingest button that I clicked. So at some point I want to spend some time on those two options because they kind of interesting to me as well for metadata driven data ingestion. This is the data. So we spent quite some time in the workspace and linked section already. And I'm going to come back to this. As a matter of fact, let me go into the storage account real quick. And let me bring up the file that we're looking at. Test 123, right? Yeah, so test 123, that's the folder. And there's a file called sumfile.parquet. That's actually the file that's being generated by this pipeline here. And this is the pipeline that we generated last time. So you tell me prove it. Let me go to the source. See, this is the source. So we picked up a file from here, which is a CSV, some file CSV, which is in the telemetry section. So let me go over into the telemetry section, open this one up real quick. And this is going to be helpful because quite often you need to go through existing jobs and understand how they work, and then it's definitely going to be good to know where the stuff is coming from. So we go here and here, and then this was telemetry as far as I remember. Test, where is that? Oh no, oh, there's a subfolder. Okay. Okay, so there's the subfolder telemetry. Oh yeah, that's quite a big one. And then we have some file CSV. That's here. And I even see the content. Well, let me open it that way. That's fine. Just real quick, I want to see it. And this was just sort of a super small sample here. It was more about the idea of getting this to work versus to make sense of it from a data perspective. So this is that. And obviously the other ones should then be used to convert them into parquets, since they come in as CSVs. But so the parquet should look like what we just saw, right? That's the whole point of why I bring this up. So if I now close this, because remember this was the source, right? So now I'm going to the copy job, to the sync, open, and this is the parquet file. Right, and it's somewhere there's a section. I think it's here. Edit. Now this is the storage location. Sorry, this is the it's not it. I think runtime. Oh, here parquet. It says the parquet, and then here file. So this is where you would expect the data to be. Preview, we can already see preview. This is what's out there, right? And that lines up to that CSV file we just looked at. So now, so this is what's been produced, and to be able to read this, we could actually read this also with other technologies. But what I want to do in that video here today is talk a bit about Spark pools that we can provision in Synapse, and I already have a bunch of them. And while we're provisioning another one, let me go to manage, right? Manage section. And then to the Spark pools within the analytics pool. And you see there's already 4 of them, which is pretty rich. And then let me just go, there's also in monitor, you can also see a Spark pool node, right? Keep that in mind. Those are kind of different locations. What I found interesting here is, here you have some additional metadata, right? About vcores and memory and even a create by and stuff like that. And you can actually also, go into here and click on the link, and then we can see some additional data here. Here we can manage the pool. So this now brings up a different menu here. This is quite interesting. So let me go here, scale settings, pause settings, packages. So this is stuff we can change this after it was created. So keep those options in mind here. But before we go any further here, an interesting part now is he actually changed the menu, right? He jumped. So I was here, right? And I had this view. Go back, and then what did I do when I clicked on the actual pool and manage pools? Did actually go down here, right? And then to manage them, he brought me to another window, basically. So quite interesting. And then in here I can basically monitor them, right? So I see the KPIs and what's done, and active applications and those type of things. And because some of this, there's not a whole lot of traffic going on, that's why you don't see a whole lot. And here's even the Spark application. And there was one that I had running before. Okay, so let me go to manage Apache Spark, and then let me create another one. And I can actually also show you how to delete one. Test for Spark. Okay, test for Spark. I disable the isolated compute, which is fine. Isolated compute means you have basically sort of machines for yourself. If it's disabled, there is some sharing going on behind the scenes. Memory optimized is fine. This is small. Let's do small. Depends on your workload, of course, right? Auto size enabled is good. Number of nodes, all fine. We definitely want to enable pausing. That's coming up in the next dialog. And then typically I enable this one to 4 executors. This is just to parallel enable stuff. And the next, additional settings. Those are actually quite important settings here. Pausing. This is what I was referring to. So I make this typically quite short. 15 minutes is good. Saves you basically charges on it. Now the next section here, the component version, that's very important because some of the stuff you need to run on here may require certain versions of this, right? So remember that this is there. And then here the file configuration, file upload, this is also very important. Some of these clusters can be configured quite specifically depending on what they are supposed to be doing. And with the file here, you can make these configurations at runtime. And then package. Okay, so enable, disable. This is when we have, all kinds of packages, Python packages included to customize the processing. And then, of course, also the cache. So some of this stuff is definitely important to know where this is need to be configured. We don't have a need for this in that demo here, but Just want to present this. And then, yeah, that's pretty much the provisioning process. And then create. At some point, what we also should look at is how to do this via the Azure CLI. This is actually also supported. So, but before we go further, so let me go to the storage account now, and not in here. Let me go one up, and then let me have a look at some parquet, and then a new notebook, and then load to data frame. Okay, so here I have a data frame. And then now here I have a bunch of pools now. That's for Spark. That's the one we just provisioned. Okay. And then let's use that one. I'm sure it's not ready yet because it's not even, So this may take a bit, but that's okay. I just want to demonstrate the concept, right? So it started, okay. And initially it's always a bit, because these nodes, they need to come up and need to find their job and their space, and that takes a bit of time. So provisioning this, but this is how we did that one. And then the other thing that I want to do is go back into the workspace and clean this up a bit, because I don't want to have so many pools laying around. So, and what I found really helpful earlier when I went to monitoring Spark pools, then I can see when they were provisioned. You see by the date here and by the time when they were done. So, and let me see if I can sort them. Test for Spark should be on top, because there was the one. Apparently that doesn't sort. Okay. So I need to watch out. I want to get rid of test me Spark. So how do I do that? So I click on it. Okay. Apparently not here. Okay, let me go back. Test me Spark. So there's no way to, well, I'm in the monitoring section, right? So in the monitoring section, I may not be able to do that. Okay, that's why let me go to the manage section, and then see, now I need to really remember test me Spark, because the order is now different. I need to remember the name. Then I can go these three dots, and then there's a delete option. Then I need to have the name of the pool again. Okay, that's fine. Put that on there. That's it. So I'm deleting. This is a pool that I provisioned earlier that we're not using at the moment, right? So this is still running, right? But this is a different pool. Okay, so we don't really need that one. Okay, so this is that. And did it already remove that pool that we deleted? Failed to delete. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Test for Spark. Let me try again. My Spark pool. Okay. Then hit delete. Please type the Apache Spark pool name below. My Spark pool. I may have not had, maybe I had a space in here or something, but normally that's not it. Let's try again. Maybe it's, no, it shouldn't be permissions related. This time it worked. See? Something I messed up in my earlier trial. Okay, but now I have only 4 available. Okay, so this worked. I was able to provision one. I was able to delete a Spark pool. So that's good to know. we have similar processes in here. Successfully deleted coming through. We have very similar processes for those other ones, right? The SQL pools. At some point we need to spend some time on this one as well. So you can see here new dedicated SQL pool, dedicated SQL pool name, and then here additional settings, kind of similar to what we saw with the Spark pool there a minute ago. And we already have a built-in pool, serverless, and apparently, and see, it does give us a choice. Dedicated SQL pool. Apparently, you can only have one serverless pool in a workspace. The way this dialog works, okay? But you can definitely have multiple dedicated pools. I know that for sure. Okay. And then one other thing I want to have a look at is the Data Explorer. This is a newer capability, so also very similar process, basic, additional settings, tags, review and create, okay, basics. Here the name, workload, size, storage optimized, compute optimized, okay. Just curious about medium and large, okay. Auto scale. Streaming is just enabled, okay, and then enable purge, okay. So there's also a couple of settings, but less settings than on a Spark cluster. Interesting. So at some point we need to have some closer look here. But those are the basically the two other compute choices, besides the one that's already there when you provision the pool. So finally, this actually did work now. So now we have ready test for Spark, right? So I can see the actual content of that parquet file, right? And all I did, remember, right? I went to the storage account. Was it here? It was in that window, but let's go back here and linked and go down to the root. I think it's here. Sometimes I'm a bit, no, it's here. Yeah, I got it. There's quite a bit of stuff here hanging around. Okay, test. Yeah. So here's the parquet. Now, what we did is we right-clicked on the parquet and then notebook and then load data frame. What I just want to do, you can of course do this also with text files or any other file, right? So load to data frame, right? And it uses automatically the same pool and test for Spark. And then let's hit that run. And this time it right away shows the content because now the pool is basically run and ready to go. Okay, that's that. Okay, some errors popping up here. I'm not taking it too serious for now. For the purposes that we're doing here, this is okay. And then we also have the way of table and chart. So this is perfect for quick data exploration. So I think we need to tie this into our pipeline. And I mentioned this, I believe I mentioned this earlier, but just to be clear, let's say we have a Python script and we massage this data further, right? Then what we could do is in our pipeline, there's ways to add. And I need to check out, oh, there's Synapse here. Yeah, okay, that should be it. So we basically just use the Synapse notebook here, right? After we obviously we need to write the notebook, we need to store it, and yada yada yada. And then we would need to connect to it here. Here's, here we would select. So that way we could perform some transformation in here, and then modify the file, file, and then write it back, and then we've tied it to that copy data here. We could actually, this is sort of a pipeline now, right? Where we do that. There's also ways to connect. This green one, to my understanding, means connect when this is successful. There is also ways to configure this when there's a failure, which is here, right? So, or on completion only, or skipped, right? So that's another important thing to remember, that you can do basically conditional processing depending on what the outcome of copy data one is. But yeah, so this is pretty much what we did in that session. So quite a bit talked about provisioning pools, talked about deleting pools. We talked about mapping them and basically reading data. And then once we have more stuff here, and in here you can then, this is Spark read load command, but there's a lot more that we can do then. So I could add a new cell here, and df is basically that data frame listened up here, and then with count. Let's see if that works. And then here I can run this cell on its own. There shouldn't be a whole lot. See, this is only 3, because there's only 3 records in there, including the header, right? And so we need to spend some time on these commands here to interact. You can even see the schema and all kinds of stuff. So, and then once it's all done here, then we could obviously give this a name, a bit more mature than Notebook 5, and publish it. Let me see if I can publish it in Notebook 5. Okay, then I want to go Workspace, data. But that would be development, and then notebooks, and you see here Notebook 5, right? Okay, so I did take the publishing, so I go into here 3 dots, and here's a rename. Okay, then I can say some script. Okay, and then when I go back to my pipeline here, I could call that. It should still be visible here. Maybe it didn't update it yet. I think there's some update thing going on. Quite honestly, I'm surprised that it does allow me to publish this. Yeah, normally it doesn't. Okay, so let's spend some time on this next time. I think I'm already way over time, but this should allow me to publish now. File. So this is, while this is publishing, just for the funds, I want to see if we can see that that one file. Okay, and then going in here, settings. Is it listed now? Not listed yet. Yeah, I'll need to spend some time on this next time. But conceptually, right? So we would have this this mapped here, and we also have stored procedures here that we could use from a pool. which could definitely be interesting also for further processing. You can see I can actually all combine them into one pipeline, right? So this is where multiple different technologies come together to massage your data. It's not just great to do it like this, because keep in mind that adds some complexity as well. But if need be, you can do it that way. So that's possible. All right. Thanks. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening. Any feedback, any links, please let me know. Have a good one. Talk soon again. Cheers.